Okay, so I'm going to get straight into this video and we're going to take a look at some of the reasons why you're not making any sales with Amazon KDP. Okay, so the first reason and one of the biggest reasons why you might not be seeing any sales in your account is because you are picking the wrong niche and you are prioritizing things that you feel passionate about over things that are actually making money on Amazon. So to give you an example, I have a friend who is just getting into publishing and they said to me that they had a really good idea for a book and they thought it was a good idea. It was for something like a scuba diving book for beginners or something like that. It's something that they were interested in, something that they've had experience with, and it makes sense that they feel good about this topic and they know quite a lot about this topic and they can write for days about it, and it would make them feel good trying to teach other people about this topic as well. And I said to him, have you checked on Amazon to make sure that there is money going to the niche that you're interested in? And he's like, no, it just seems like a really good idea. So it is the absolute worst attitude to have when it comes to making money on Amazon. And it's something you need to decide very early on, is that are you publishing because you want to get enjoyment from putting out things that you're interested in and teaching people about things that you're interested in, or do you want to make money? And for the most part, people want to make money. That's why they come to Amazon KDP, so they can make money. And unfortunately, when it comes to making money, sometimes you will have to delve into niches that you're not interested in whatsoever. Now, if you can find a nice middle ground between something that you're interested in and something that is making sales on Amazon, then that's even better. That's going to make you even more money if you have knowledge about what you're selling. So if we just do an example here of something like, I think it was a scuba diving book for beginners that he was interested in. So if we just scroll through some of the first page here, I'm not even seeing many beginners books here. There's a dummies one, which this person shouldn't be selling, I don't think. There's some logbooks here. There's one that's ranked 925,000. And you need to go through, if you find a niche that you're interested in that you think people are going to like, you need to go through Amazon and see what it's telling you. And if the thing that you're interested in comes back with these type of results where the rankings are really, really high and therefore not making any sales for other people that are selling similar books, then you need to take a look at how much time you'd be putting into something like a scuba diving book for beginners. So to my understanding, something like that, anything that needs to be taught, anything that you're trying to teach to someone else, is going to take a long time to get across in a book. So you're going to take a long time making a product that probably isn't going to see much money in return. So this is where your niche research is absolutely vital. I think for the most part, you need to get it out of your head that you're going to sell things that you're super interested in and just go where money is going as well. And if you're super stuck for ideas when it comes to niches, then you can always go down to my GUMROAD and download the free niche guides, so the niche companions, the niche list that I've got over there. Just head over to the description, check it out. There's a ton of niches there that can help you get started. So just go to the description and check that one out when you've got some time. So yes, that's the first problem, is thinking that your niche is better than what Amazon is telling you. Okay, so the next problem when it comes to not making any sales on Amazon KDP is quitting before you even start. So this is quite a big one, and it was one that held me back for quite a while because there is kind of a stigma around making money online, and a lot of people, they seem to be one end or the other with the spectrum. Either it's too good to be true, or they think they're going to make hundreds of thousands straight away. They get caught up in the get rich feel when it comes to making money online. So when it comes to an actual viable online business like publishing, you're going to find that this is somewhere in the middle. Like, it is definitely doable, and it is achievable by pretty much every person that knows what they're doing. But again, it is not something that is going to make you a stupendous amount of money very, very soon. So you do need to be realistic with it. But when it comes to not getting started because it seems too good to be true, or you just don't believe that there are ways to make money online, this is one of the absolute easiest ways and quickest ways to make money online. Like, there's no other marketplace that I can think of where you can have a product made within a couple days and then have it selling on the biggest marketplace on the planet within a few days. So it's absolutely a fantastic opportunity and it's going to be for a long time as well. So that's the second reason, is to not let doubt stop you from getting started. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at that is stopping you from making sales on Amazon is giving up when there are obstacles in your way. And there are a lot of channels on YouTube that make this look much easier than it actually is. And my channel is probably guilty of that as well, because I only tend to focus on the good niches, the money, all those good things, but rarely talk about how frustrating Amazon KDP can actually get. And I guess it's the same with any business that you enter into, is that you're going to have these obstacles and you're going to have to find ways to get around them. I do find that when it comes to things on the computer, such as like formatting issues, that these are the most infuriating things, especially when you don't know immediately how to resolve the issue. It can be really demoralizing and it can cause a lot of people to quit. In fact, it was one of the main reasons a couple years ago why I came close to stopping publishing, is because I couldn't get the formatting right for one of my books. But I just looked around, did my research, I got onto these YouTube channels just like my own, I found a solution, pushed through, and then started making sales. So that's the next reason. There is always going to be something, pretty much every step of every book that you make, there's going to be some obstacle in your way that you're going to have to, dig deep, work around, fix, find a solution for, before you can move on to publishing the book successfully. Okay, so the next thing that could be stopping you from making sales on Amazon is that your idea of quality doesn't match the same idea of quality as your customer. So when it comes to quality, I am primarily talking about your book cover, because that is the thing people see right off the bat. So when it comes to quality, I think it is definitely something that is subjective. However, there is a standard that people have come to expect when it comes to buying things on Amazon in terms of the quality of your book. So one of the easiest ways that you can determine whether or not your cover is of a good enough quality for your customer is to decide whether or not this is something that you would buy yourself off Amazon. Now, I know it sounds almost too simple to think of it that way, but it really does work. So I'm going to put a couple of examples on screen now, and it should be pretty obvious for most people which of these two covers is the more appealing on the eye. So whilst quality is subjective, there is a universal standard of quality when it comes to buying things off of Amazon. And I think most people can tell the difference between quality and something that isn't quality. And also when it comes to your Amazon business, you really need to think of it from the buyer's perspective and not just your own perspective of selling. So sometimes a person's perspective of selling is to just get as many products out onto the marketplace as humanly possible. Therefore, you're going to make sales. However, from a buyer's perspective, what are people actually looking for? They're looking for something that actually looks good and serves a purpose in their life. So if you can think about the person that's going to be buying your books, think what they're going to like to see on your cover, think what they're going to like to see inside your book, and how that they want your book to be presented to them. Once you can start creating that image of your customer, then you can start making books that cater toward their needs. So try and think as a buyer and not just a seller as well, and you'll see a lot more success with your books, and you'll find that you'll start taking more time creating your books when you have this mentality. Okay, so the next reason is that you're probably not being very consistent with your efforts on Amazon. So whether you're working a full-time job or not, there is still plenty of time in a person's day to put at least 30 minutes into this business. And it's not a case of having to drop everything and work on your KDP business. You can literally put 30 minutes to an hour into this business every single day. So whether that be each day you're doing some niche research, or you're making some covers, you're having something outsourced, or you're just learning something new. If you're consistent with this, then you're going to see some incredible results much sooner than other people. So there's no point in just uploading one book 1 month and then the next month doing another book and then the next month doing a couple more books. You need to be consistent with your efforts, and you need to be doing something almost every single day with this business, and that keeps the momentum going. It keeps you rolling, keeps you learning, keeps you publishing, and come the end of a year, you're going to be way ahead of people that haven't been this consistent. And to be honest, this is a business where you can put minimal amounts of time in. So like I say, if you are working a job, there is still plenty of time for you, because it doesn't take too much time of your day to do things like creating covers, doing niche research, and actually creating listings. So you don't have to do it all in one day. You can spread it out across the week. But as long as you stay consistent with it, then you'll start seeing results much sooner than other people. And once again, if you are really struggling to get started, you can always check out the resources in the description, where I'm trying to push my course to you, of course, like most people. And of course, I do have the GUMROAD page where you can download a load of free things as well. Okay, so the next reason why you might not be making sales on KDP, or why you might even be quitting KDP, is because you're believing the $10,000 per month niches that you see on YouTube. And I think a lot of people are quite guilty for this on YouTube, and that is to present niches as being much more profitable than they actually are. So the reality when it comes to these $5,000, $2,000, $10,000 niches, like if you make a coloring book in this niche, you're going to make $20,000 per month. It's very, very misleading. So what people will do when they show off these niches is they'll find something extremely popular, like say a unicorn coloring book, and then we'll see that the ranking here is 304. And then what they'll do is they'll plug this ranking into a sales calculator. And then when it's been put into the sales calculator, it's going to bring up this result saying that this person is making 4,567 sales a month, 300 sales every single day with a unicorn coloring book. And while you might not make that money, you're still going to make a lot of money if you publish a unicorn coloring book. And the reality is you're probably not going to make any money from publishing a unicorn coloring book. The reality here is that a lot of books like this, they're in markets that are now completely saturated and being dominated by one or two products, like this one here, for example. And this one has a publisher backing it as well. So it's getting tons and tons of traffic from outside of Amazon as well as on Amazon. And it's well established. It's the first listing. It's got 13,000 reviews at 4.8. So it's doing unbelievably well for this company. But just because this book is doing so well, does it mean that you can make sales from a unicorn coloring book? And the answer to that, I think, is no. I don't think it means that you definitely can't make money from it. But I think it's extremely misleading to suggest that just because a few people are having incredible results with one type of book, that you can expect to have good results as well. There are many more factors involved to making sales for an independent publisher like us. And I think when people waste a lot of time and they put a lot of money into making something like a unicorn coloring book, and they upload it onto Amazon and it doesn't make any sales at all for them, they kind of give up and they think this doesn't work. It's not for me. It's a scam. These people telling me I'm going to make 10,000 a month with whatever type of coloring book. And it's just extremely demotivating when you can't make sales in a niche that's supposedly going to make you a ton of money. So here with this point, I'm trying to say is that you will need to be realistic with your expectations on Amazon. So if you're only seeing like a 1 sale a week or 2 sales a week, or even a couple sales a month, it's only relative to how many books you have on your account for a start. And also if you're seeing any type of sale, any type whatsoever, early days on Amazon, then you're doing very, very well. And with time, you can slowly build upon that to create even more sales, even more books, higher quality, better niche research. It's going to grow and grow and grow. You just need to be realistic with it. Okay, the next reason why you might not be making any sales or very little on Amazon is because you're not spreading yourself across enough niches. Now, this is something that I absolutely struggled with the first few months when it came to publishing on Amazon. I fell trapped to these, ultra exciting coloring book niches, and I think I've spoken about this in a few videos before, but I did have a few coloring books made. I spent money, I spent time, they looked good, I did my niche research, and they just didn't sell anything at all. Maybe they sold a copy per month or something, but it was very, very low. It wasn't worth the time. I've never made my money back on those books. And I think when it comes to really struggling to make sales in a niche that should be hot, like coloring books, I know that they're hot. I know that they should make money. If I niche down properly, they should make money, but I just can't do it. I couldn't do it. Maybe I could now, but I certainly couldn't then. And I feel like the reason for that was because I don't know how to. So the books that I made were coloring books for kids, and I don't have kids, so I don't know how to try and sell something to a parent that's buying something for a child. I think I really struggle to, market that to that type of person. So for me, that just didn't work. I just couldn't do it. I'm not that good at it, and I won't be trying it again for quite a while. However, if you're spreading yourself out across many different niches, then you're going to find the ones that you're actually able to sell better to your customer. So for me, I did have quite a lot of experience on a cookbook that I was selling. It was a very specific type of cookbook, and I had more experience with it. I was interested in it myself. I wouldn't say I was passionate about it, but I was certainly interested in it, and I knew which type of person was going to be buying this book from me. So I knew how to market how to market to them. And this only happened because I experimented with multiple niches. And even if you're doing low content books and you have something like a diabetes book and you're banging out like 20, 30, 40 of these and you're not seeing any sales with it, I think maybe at that point, it's time for you to move on to another niche and just see how well you can sell to someone in a different niche. So for me, this is very important that you spread yourself out across as many niches as you can. I'm not saying do one book, move on to a next book, and move on to the next niche, do one more book, move on to the next niche, do another book. What I'm saying is I think you should look at having, if you're doing low content books, then maybe look around doing 10 per niche and then moving on to the next niche. However, if you're doing slightly higher content books like coloring books or word searches maybe, then I think you can do around between 5 and 10 again, and just get an idea of what sales are coming in from your efforts before you start moving on to the next niche there. So you need to give the niche a chance. You need to see how you can perform with it and then move on to the next one. And when you do find that you're making sales in a certain niche, then you can start doubling down, niching down even further with those niches that you can sell within. Okay, so the next problem that you might be running into with your KDP business is analysis paralysis. And this is something that I really suffered very, very badly from in the beginning when it came to finding niches. So basically what this is just over analyzing your niche research, over complicating it and making it much harder than it needs to be. And I think a big part of that is being taught that you need to have this exact criteria when it comes to finding a good selling niche on Amazon. So people will tell you, and I'm probably guilty for this myself, but it does make it easier sometimes to try and explain it that way. But what people will do is they'll say you need to find a niche that has got less than 1,000 results on the first page for your keyword. So then you need to have X amount of books on the front page that have less than 33 reviews, and then you need to have at least 10 books on the front page which have a ranking of less than 1,200 or something like that, or 100,000. But the reality is that if you try and find these niches that are coherent to this exact criteria, then you're going to get stuck and you're going to miss out on so many good niches that can make you money that don't fall into the criteria that you've heard. And this was a really big one for me. It's where I really got stuck finding niches because I was following someone else's criteria like I've just outlined, and I couldn't find anything that matched it, and I got stuck looking for days and weeks for these niches. And the reality here is that you don't need to operate like that. So when it comes to people saying you need to have less than 500 search results or something for a book, the problem here is that when you type stuff into Amazon like unicorn coloring book and you see that there's over 4,000 search results here, that looks like there are 4,000 unicorn coloring books, but the reality is that you're getting search results for things that aren't unicorn coloring books. They might be finding books that are like animal coloring books or magical coloring books or just coloring books in general. They're finding things that aren't directly related to your niche. So when you're doing your niche research, that's why it's so important that you find how many books on the front page are directly related to the niche that you're searching for. And then from there, you find out how quickly the niche, your exact niche, dies off. So for example, if the first page was absolutely packed full of unicorn coloring books, which it is, you could go onto the second page and see how fast the unicorn coloring books start dying off. So if they started dying off on this second page already, but they're not, because of course it's unicorn coloring book and everyone's done it. If it was dying off already and you're getting search results that weren't 100% related to unicorn coloring books, so if you started seeing things like leprechaun coloring books, swear word coloring books like this one here. If this page was becoming less and less relevant to the keyword that you were searching for, then you could decide that there's enough competition for you to get involved with this niche, if that makes sense. So just because there's 7 pages of search results for unicorn coloring book and over 4,000 search results for unicorn coloring book, it doesn't mean that you can't fit in with this niche. And that's why that criteria to me doesn't necessarily make that much sense. And the next thing that I would say in terms of this is to not actually worry too much about what other reviews people's products are getting in terms of the quantity of reviews. So 13,500, 300. It depends on the niche that you're in. So if you're in a niche where people are going to buy one book and then they're going to move on to the next book and buy another one of the exact same type. So I can't speak on behalf of people that buy coloring books, whether they just keep buying the next one right after the other. But for things like word searches, I know for a fact that people will buy one word search, they'll complete it, and then they'll buy the next one. So to base your criteria of a good niche off of the number of reviews that books have doesn't necessarily make sense to me, because people are going to keep buying multiple types of these books regardless of how many reviews that they have. So yes, of course, having good reviews and high amount of reviews is going to help your book make sales, but in terms of looking at the competition, it doesn't make sense to just drop a niche because a few other books have got really high amounts of reviews. So if you do find a niche that has something like this where it's got 14,000, 13,000 reviews on it, don't drop it just because of this. Do your niche research further and see if you can fit in terms of the overall quantity of books on Amazon within this niche. So if every page is filled with these unicorn activity books for the next 3 or 4 pages, then I'm going to say, yeah, I can't compete with this probably. But if it was to die off after the first page and I could even just show up on the second page or even somewhere at the bottom of the first page, then I still think that I could make sales in this niche. But it doesn't do that on the unicorn coloring books, so that's why I don't get involved with this niche. And the next thing that we look at here in terms of analysis paralysis is the ranking for books. And again, this is one that really stopped me from progressing with my KDP business. It was looking at all these rankings on everyone else's books and then just judging completely off of these. So if I saw one, let's say for example on this Easter word search I've just typed in here, if I saw one that was ranked 1 million for an Easter word search book, I'd look at it, I'd say 1 million, that's not making any sales at all. I don't think that's even a sale a month. It might be a sale a month, but it's nothing really significant. I'd look at that and I go, well, if this person's not making money, then I can't do it either. And that's such a bad attitude to have, because there are a good amount of these books on the first page that have good rankings. So 200,000, 500,000, 800,000, 500,000, 700,000, 100,000. They're all pretty good rankings for books that take you 20 minutes to make. However, if every book that I came across was ranked 100, a million or over, then I would say no, this isn't. There's not enough traffic going to these books. But if you can see ones that are ranked 100,000 or 200,000 here, or 400,000, 240,000, those rankings are quite good for the .com store. They're making sales every single month and consistently making these sales. So if other independent publishers are getting this type of traffic, they're getting these type of sales, then this niche is good enough to go for. So what you can do to see if this niche is worth your time is make it relevant to how hard the book is to make. So word searches we can establish are very easy to make with the correct software, and we can make a lot of them. So when it comes to a niche that's easy to create books in, we can look at anything ranked under, I would say anything ranked under 1 million or 900,000, 800,000, anything under those numbers is good. If you're seeing multiple listings with rankings under that amount, then you're good to go. Don't worry too much about the reviews or anything else like that. However, if you're creating a book that's going to take you much longer to make, it's going to take you more time to make, so something like a cookbook or a storybook or something like that, then I think this is when your research becomes a lot more specific, and I think you do have to take more note of where you can fit in the marketplace. Okay, so just to use this type of cookbook as an example here, so if we're looking at a Ninja Foodie cookbook. But again, you don't want to do a Ninja Foodie cookbook just because I think it is trademarked or copyrighted or whatever, and that would get you in trouble with Amazon, possibly. You don't want to risk anything like that. We can see other people doing it. I know we can see independent publishers doing Ninja Foodie things, but that doesn't mean just because other people are doing it that you should do it. So always be safe with this type of thing. Like, don't do it. If you're in doubt, get the trademark checked. Ninja Foodie is obviously taken, so you shouldn't be using it. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. But just using this as an example. So very low search results here, very, very low. So in this case, that is a good thing that we can see the search results are low. I don't tend to worry about search results when they're very high. So if this was even 3,000, I would think, it doesn't matter because of what I've just said previously about how many direct competition there is in this niche. So with this type of higher content book, the one that's going to take you longer to do, the one that's going to cost you a little bit more money, you want to find the rankings here as being much lower than the ones that you'd be doing for your low content books. So anything under 100,000 for this type of books, I think is good to go. So if you're seeing multiple books that are under 100,000 for a higher content book, then I think you're good to go. So obviously we can see here we've got 52,000, 36, 2,000, 442,000, 85,000, 26,000, 5,000. So these are incredibly low. And I imagine that these are incredibly low because most people will shy away from doing a Ninja Foodie cookbook because of the trademark, which obviously you should. But if you do see one that is like an anomaly with like a much higher ranking, it's just the way it is sometimes. Just ignore it. You've got plenty of data to go by that there is so much traffic and money being spent on this niche that you can just ignore these ones that don't seem to do as well. But even then, it's still making sales and it's got horrible reviews on it as well. Okay, so that is analysis paralysis, and you just don't need to overthink the niche research too much. What you can do is you can separate. So if he's going to make things a lot easier for you, you're going to separate your low content book research and your higher content book research criteria into different categories here. So for your lower content books, just look for anything that's ranked consistently under 1 million on the front page. And for your higher content books, you can look for anything that's ranked consistently under, say, 200 to 300,000. Okay. And sticking to a much vaguer criteria like that is going to make your life so much easier. Okay, so that is it for this video. Just remember, you do need to keep publishing. You need to keep consistent. You need to have more than just a few books on your account. Like, you're not going to make money. You're not going to make good money from just having a few books uploaded onto Amazon. You have to really try and get quite a few books out there in order to start seeing sales. And you do need to give this business time as well. So it takes time for your books to get ranked. It takes time for them to get traction in the marketplace. It takes time to get reviews. But during that time where you're waiting, you should also not be waiting. You should just be carrying on publishing, finding new niches, learning how to make covers better, just doing everything better and more efficiently as you go along. If you've got time to do this business every single day, give yourself at least 6 months before you start thinking about giving up on it. At least 6 months. And I promise you, if you follow things that other YouTubers, myself and other YouTubers are telling you, following those niches, publishing good books, then you're going to start making money. Anyway, I hope that this has helped you, and I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have, there's going to be plenty more on the way very soon.